Morning, 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 morning. I'm good. Good morning. Good morning. Very good morning to you viewers, wherever you're watching this live broadcast from. I'm coming to you live from Buxton on the main access road where several protesters have lined the road with their placards as police stand guard, and they're calling they're calling it a day of protest. But we are at Buxton, and there's a ministerial outreach just about 2 corners away from here at the community center ground.
No peace. No peace. The resources of this nation. This morning, my time when I drove around Buxton and I went over to Strasbourg so that people could have gotten the opportunity and the life to compare the state of the roads and other infrastructure in Buxton compared to those in Strasbourg. And these are 2 neighboring communities. And if that is not glaring enough for people to see the discriminatory development, if I can call it that, in the communities across Guyana, then I don't know what else would be glaring enough. The fact is, for the last 2 years or so, what we are seeing in Guyana is while the man who sits in the office of president says it's one Guyana, we are starting to believe more and more that it is Guyana for one set of people. Because if you look at the distribution of financial resources in the times when the cost of living has risen and a lot of people are unemployed because of COVID, etc. Trillions of dollars have been given to communities that are believed to be predominantly supportive of the government, predominantly in the Guyanese community. You have money for the fisher folk, money for Gaisico workers, money for rice farmers. But when you look at communities where predominantly Afro-Guyanese exist, particularly in the public servants have not seen an increase in salary, really and truly, for the last 2 years. Public servants are not receiving grants to ease the cost of living burden. When you look at the communities in which Black folks live, Buxton, for example, again, the Neighborhood Democratic Council, Buxton Falls Neighborhood Democratic Council, was won at the local government elections by the PPP Civic. They control the Buxton Falls Neighborhood Democratic Council. And if you look at the infrastructure in Buxton, you will see it is in tatters. And when you leave and you go to a community like Falls, or you go to Enterprise, which are part of the Neighborhood Democratic Council of Buxton Falls, you will see the difference in development again. I know for a fact that $4 million were given to the NDC as part of the Community Enhancement Project. And that money, the instructions was this money should only be spent in Enterprise. And so these are things which we want to highlight. And why I am referring Buxton, because I live in Buxton and I know the troubles of Buxton. I am positive because I've seen it exist in other Afro-Guyanese communities. And this protest this morning is to bring to the eyes of the world that what this administration is doing is not good for our people. It's not good for the development of this nation.
Mr. Amsterdam, your protest is being held at a time when there is a high-level government delegation holding a meeting in the Friendship area, which is a village adjacent to Buxton. You have outlined a number of grievances here, which, according to you, span little more than 2 years at least. What plans do you have to go to that meeting to engage them, to let them hear face to face? What are your concerns?
Well, I'll say this to you. as it is this morning, the onus is not on me to go to the high level government delegation. I'll tell you why. This protest was planned and advertised for quite a while. It was in the public domain that this protest was going to happen. Instead of trying to engage the organizers of the protest, what the government first did, they tried to get the Guyana police force to dissuade people from participating in this process by issuing a statement to say that no permissions were granted. We do not need permission for this manner of protest. And once we responded to that in a public way, the next thing this government did was to form their high-level delegation and said, well, we are going to come to Buxton on the same day at the same time. It's a challenge to the people. They will not set our agenda. We will not go to them. It is their place to come to the people, and it is their place to engage the people. So, with regard to leaving here and going to where they are now, that's not any part of my agenda.
What's next? What's next?
What's next? This is just the first in a series of protests. We have started, like we did a year ago. We are highlighting where the issues are, and we will look and see whether the government responds or not. And if the government doesn't respond, all we will do is continue the protest, and we will take it to different levels. It's as simple as that.
What would you consider a response by the government?
A response by the government? Let me tell you what is a response by the government. Last year when we were out there protesting, the government came, or at least they sent contractors with heavy machinery, and they started doing the middle work. That is how it's done today. Right? That is how it is in this state today. Because last year while we were here protesting, that was their response, right? And so when we say we are expecting a response from the government, we are expecting a response from the government on several fronts. The people at Golden Grove who are shut up by the arms of the state, by the coercive arms of the state, we expect them to get justice. The government has a responsibility to go into that community and do the necessary investigation and sit with the people who are wrongly injured and suffered losses and offer recompense. Ali went to Morning Post within 2 hours of the mayhem there, and he declared as president full compensation for those people. At Gordon Grove, on the same evening, the police were shooting indiscriminately. They destroyed people's business. A woman was in her business with her family, and they shot into the front of that business. People going home from work were injured. They shot into people's houses and yards, and some people suffer losses. And the response from this government would be to go to those people and fix it. Fix it, right? That is a response I expect. I expect in the matter of the death of Quentin Bacchus, they're talking about 3 persons being charged. I'll tell you here, I will tell you as representatives of the media, that is an inadequate response. And it is inadequate because I have confidential information which says that the 3 people are identified to be charged, none of them is the shooter. It is the public belief that Mr. Delaboga is the shooter, but there is good evidence which suggests differently. I am not here to contradict the belief of the public, but I am saying I have the list of the policemen who participated on that operation. The one policeman who went up with his whip.
All right, this was actually a few minutes ago, and you're hearing there from Kadaki, Amsterdam. If you're now joining us, good morning to you guys. We are broadcasting live there on the ground in Buxton, where there's a live protest that's happening. Well, that was a protest earlier. Well, not a protest, that's when they first started. And lots of people are out there. And if you are from the area and you're watching, please go down there. It's a good protest. It's good trouble, so to speak, as the late Congressman John has said, that it is good trouble, and that is how you awaken people under oppression. And the people in Guyana are under oppression. They must stand up. They must wiggle their way out of that. And we cannot wiggle our way out of it just talking and talking and talking. And so kudos to the people on the ground who are out there walking, who are out there with their boots on. And I say kudos to them. I'm going to count how many opposition MPs are out there today. And I keep harping on that, not for any personal reasons, but to let you guys know that Whenever a nation is under occupation or is being oppressed, a good and a strong opposition is needed. Don't worry about their excuses that if they torn up, that this is what this body can think. And don't worry about that. They need to be out there. They should be out there. And we all want them to be out there. And I'm going to count. I'm looking to see who is out there. I don't want any excuses. I just don't want any excuses why they're not out there. Some of them may say, oh, we're not out there because we don't want it to be political. Well, it is political. The people are being oppressed. It is political. So don't come with the excuses. Get out of your beds. Go out there. Join the people out there who are protesting. No excuses from these members of parliament. None whatsoever. It shouldn't be. Because when the PPP has their so-called outreach and so forth, whether in Linden, we see some of the MPs, we see councillors and so forth out there. They make an effort to be out there to those sort of things. So let's see how many of the MPs are going to be there today. I don't want to hear one or two and this body out there. I want to see at least most of them, 90% of them should be out there. Is Camraj going to be there? Is David Patterson going to be there? I hope to see Cathy Hughes there. I don't know, but let's see what's going to happen. But let's head back to the protest. I know you guys want to find out what's going on, and let's head back to the protest. This now is what's happening now on the ground. Currently happening in Buxton. See, the protesters are there. They're not harming anybody.
Yeah, we like. I got one.
Or does you know this is a live broadcast. It's live, and let me say to the technical crew of the APNU AFC, the technical crew, they're there. Let me give them credit for this broadcast that I'm taking. We're taking a feed from their broadcast, so we don't want to make it appear as though we're selfish, and we're not. We're giving kudos where kudos deserve to be, and. I noticed that Sherrod is there. Let's hear what Sherrod has to say. Sorry about that.
We're still on the line. We're still here. We're still protesting. We have a board with Mr. Kadaki. Good morning, sir. It's still morning, 11:07.
Hi, morning.
Mr. Kadaki, no justice up to now. How long more do we have to wait for justice?
You know, a lot of people say justice is a process, but they also say justice delayed is justice denied. And I am assuming that you asked this question in relation to Kunda Makot. And the length of time it took for the authorities to come to the point of saying that 3 persons were named to be charged. And we might very well see those charges being ready for tomorrow. Because the Office of Professional Responsibility, I think, who was supervising the investigation, has issued a report to say that it has issued a report and it's now with the DPP, and the DPP will recommend the charges. And so they will move ahead. Let me see this. It is almost a month since that incident and this incident. All the time that it took them was to corrupt the investigation. I am saying this beyond any doubt. I have no fear of successful contradiction. What they were utilizing that time for was to corrupt the investigation. As I stand here, the report identifies 3 persons to be named. Christoph is one of them. But my investigation, our investigative team, have found out that the real shooter is not among the 3. Christoph shot. Whether or not he shot the fatal bullet is another matter. But there were people who shot more than Christoph, right? And charging Christoph and these 2 other officers, in my mind, is being done so that when they go before the court and the evidence is challenged, they will go. My belief even is that they will not even be charged with murder. It is likely that they will be charged with manslaughter. Let me put it into the world, into the public. That Sunil Prasad, a member of the Guyana Police Force, is the person who, among others, should definitely be charged in the murder of Brendan Bacchus. Right? Let me say that. And you know, it is the kind of injustice that has been taking place in this country. You hear stories of when Orin Boston was murdered in his bed, right? The description from Orin Boston's wife was that of a chubby person. The person was charged and placed before the court. It's not a chubby person, right? But again, the state has been complicit. The state has been complicit in the denial of justice to the Boston's family, just as though they are complicit here in the denial of justice against the Bacchuses. Because what is going to happen in the Bacchuses case, like I said, the right person is walking on the road. And unless we demand and we insist, unless we insist that the right person be charged, justice is not going to be served. Somebody is going to go before the court and they're likely to be set free on some kind of technicality, while the real killer walks the line. My information, my instruction is that the bigger heads, as we like to say, instructed the other members of the team to protect Sonel Prasad at all costs, and they will take care of them. And they will take care of them. And that is why nobody is really worried, right? That is why nobody is really worried, because they are of the opinion they were going to. As a matter of fact, our information suggests that they were about to ship Christophe out of this country through Ogle Airport last week.
Yep, sorry about that. You're listening to a live broadcast feed about the situation with the shooting. Allegations are being leveled against a few members of the Guyana police force. Allegations upon allegations. The investigation was concluded, and waiting to hear who these officers are. We're seeing some folks out there. I'm not sure who this individual is, but if our technical guy can just go back.
World to know what is happening in the one Guyana preached by Irfan Ali. There is no one Guyana. Black youth are being gunned down. There is no justice. People are saying they will poison all black people. There is no commission of inquiry. But whenever one side talks, then it's when you hear a big balloon. There is no one Guyana.
Speaking there right now is Elizabeth Niles, vice chair, one of the vice chair of the PNCR.
You have seen also that the one-sidedness of the PD, where they looked after the folks at Moneypoles and the folks in Buxton, the folks in Golden Grove, and other areas on the East Coast left out. Is this the one Guyana that Irfan Ali installed government is talking about?
Look, Andrew, we all know that this government is a one-sided government. This government only looking after their supporters. Could you imagine? Those people went to Moneypole Market, where I believe with every fiber of my being that they planted those people who went and stole the people and uprooted the things from the market. And then they used that as a ploy to give their supporters money. But people are suffering in Buxton. People are suffering in Golden Grove. People are suffering in the outlying region, and nobody is giving them anything. Let me tell you something. There is no one Guyana, Andrew. There is no one Guyana. Black people and people who do not support the PUP are suffering in this country. Let the head of government know, the black head of government who supported this Irfan Ali Jacquio administration, the racism that is taking place in this country. When we shut our mouth and we don't say anything, people believe that it's all good and dandy in this country. But it's not all good and dandy. And so I'm out here this morning to let the world know that there is no one Guyana. Guyanese are suffering. If you do not support this political party, you are suffering. They're finding every single way to victimize you. They're finding every single way to destroy a section of this population. But let me tell you, every long rope happening. Every long rope happening. Thank you.
William Niles, Vice Chairman of the PNCR, speaking.
Without coming out and standing up and condemning what is right and condemning what is wrong. Because in the Muslim community, we do not condone these.
All right. We're still live there in Buxton. It's a live broadcast. And You heard from Elizabeth Nile. She is the vice chair. The vice chair of the vice chair, right? That's one of the vice chairs of the PNCR. One of the things you're not going to allow on this broadcast is any form of distraction, and so they know that once they come, they're not allowed with any sort of distraction or so. So I don't know why they waste their time pop up here. You know, we just, if you have nothing constructive to say, that's it. Just don't turn up and give your comment, because you are going to be thrown in the trench, and sometimes they don't learn. Okay. Again, good morning. This is a live broadcast. I've noticed some of the comments that, oh, they torn out. You see, this is where we're distracted. A lot of people are out there. That's a heck of a lot of people out there. And so we've got to start. We've got to start somewhere. We've got to start somewhere. And this here is a heck of a lot of people out there this morning. We've got to give the people the kudos. They are out there in their numbers, right? Let's not run away from that. So let's not comment, oh, where are the people? Where? If you know people who are on the East Coast right now, send them a message. Ask them to go out, your family members and so forth. Don't come on the comment section and say, oh, the turnout poor and more people supposed to be. I mean, you guys know it's one love amongst us indeed. And my concern right now is not like attacking you guys. Just call your relatives, call your friends, let them go out. Share the link, share the live so this can be broadcast all over. Share the link, share the live, spread the message, spread the word. Let us remain focused. Let us not argue about the turnout. Again, I'm saying that this is a good turnout. It is a good turnout. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And these are individuals who were not paid. They were not given 10,000, 5,000, 15,000 to be there. At the as what we're hearing, that they were given 10,000, 5,000, all manner of things not to go here. They were told by some stooges and goons of the PPP, don't go here, don't go to this protest, go to the outreach, the evil outreach that the installed PPP regime is currently having. That is what it is. And so, you see the distraction. Here's one of the distraction from Amandi Ganpat. Of Mandy profile picture by good. Be focused. The distraction is there. Hear the nonsense. Norton gave the wrong message to the people. Just like that, they pop out. Norton gave the wrong message. Look, you guys forget about these folks. Forget about them, and let's remain focused. So send a message. Send a message to your friends, relatives who are there on the East Coast, and tell them to go out. Share the link. Share the link. The trench crappos are going to come out because they are afraid. They don't like to see this sort of unity. They don't like to see these sort of things. They tremble. They get nervous. Why do you think they start with all manner of descriptions and so forth? They get nervous. Just like the slave masters used to get nervous. These modern day oppressors are getting nervous. They don't like it. And this is a heck of a large turnout. A heck of a large turnout of Guyanese who were not paid to be there, who are not given 3,000 and 5,000 to go and sit down at some so-called outreach by the installed PPP regime. So let's not break the spirit of these people. Hundreds of them are out there. More of them are expected to be out. Let's say kudos to these people. Come on now. Let's give them kudos, man. Let's not say, oh, turnout. Come on, stop it, guys. Let's encourage them. Great turnout.
One minute silence over. We demand justice. We demand justice. Justice for life. Justice for life. Justice for life. Justice for who? Justice for who? Justice for all. Justice for who? Justice for all. Justice for all. Justice for life. 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 Justice for life.
We don't need justice for real, we need justice for life.
Ma'am, your thoughts? You don't want to say anything? You're just saying justice. Justice. She doesn't want to say anything. Ma'am, no. They're just here to give their support. The placards are speaking. The placard are speaking justice for Puri, Channel, and Ekbal, but none for Pindon Bacchus. We want justice now. That's what the placard is saying. And protest line increasing. A busload of folks just arrived. Maybe they're coming from some part of out of town, but more persons are coming on the line. More persons are coming on the line. More persons are. So we have a number of persons out here this afternoon or this morning. And they will be standing here. Number of persons are coming out. The line is increasing. The line is stretching down. The line is stretching down, stretching all the way down. Killers have not been brought to justice. The true killers have not been brought to justice. And the protesters are saying they are going to keep the protest up until justice is served. PDP is about corrupt deals and cocaine. That's what the placard just reads there. If no justice, if no justice, no peace, 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 no peace. Justice!
for the crowd and
No peace. No peace. No peace. No peace. No peace.
A son is left without a father. Money from one report, but pellets and fear and tear gas for Golden Grove. That is what this placard is reading right now. Your thoughts on the protest line? So why are you out here?
Why I'm out here? I'm out here because as a Guyanese, I think what is happening to us is definitely not what we need to endure. And as an African Guyanese, I'm seeing the situation even worse. I'm feeling it, you know, brother. So I have to be out here because I need change. We need change. Things cannot continue like that.
Okay, you think the government is doing anything enough to deal with this wanton killings in this country?
The thing is, if we start from the persons involved in the killing, because when we talk of killings, definitely there is murder from conflict, personal conflict. But then when we look at state actors getting involved in murdering people, it's a different story. Because no, a man was accused or a man was involved in the killing of 3 people in Lincoln. Now they put that man to death. Right? That man's name was called when the brother from Mississippi, Brother Bromell, was killed. Right? His name is now there in the sea. And you see the trend continues where policemen are just doing what they do with the regular citizens in this country. And we are having no police. It's the first time in my life I've heard that the complaint commission is investigating a murder. Why isn't it needed? Like CIT or call some other competent agency for this? The complaint commission does not have the requisite staff. But we will not see the complaint commission actually being giving us thorough investigation unless they are built up.
All right, you're hearing some folks here on the ground talking about the lack of confidence they have in this investigations, and it's coming from the experience that they have had and folks have had, and we have seen on other experience, other situations. I believe that's probably David Hines here. Let's hear what Dr. Hines has to say.
Again, we say the Lion of Judah shall break every chain and give us the victory again and again.
thank you, Dr. Hines. David Hines. The sizable crowd out there today.
Yes, yes.
Waiting to see if you
We have Dr. David Hines out here. Dr. Hines, you're live still. you have seen that the PPP has stepped into this game in another game for the PPP.
Yes.
Playing games with three persons who are questionable in terms of who the real killers are. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is that the PPP is engaged in oppression, and we are engaged in struggle against oppression. The PPP is engaged in bad governance. We are engaged in the business of turning back bad governance and making it good governance. The PPP is engaged in extrajudicial killings. We are engaged in turning back extrajudicial killing. The people is engaged, the PPP is engaged in trying to put chains around our feet again. We are engaged in keeping them from putting chains around our feet. Look at these beautiful people. Look at them. Look at their faces. What have they done? What have they done to deserve what the PPP is putting? And we are saying today that we will stand in unity. We will hold our hands together. We will hold our hearts together. And we will ensure justice comes. This is not a one-party affair. This is not a one-group affair. This is the affair of the people standing up for justice.
Thank you, Dr. David Hines. Even his say, making the case for justice in Guyana, calling for justice, calling for fairness, calling on the government to
justice, fairness, and all of those things. We'd have to agree with David Hines. We have to agree with the other folks who have made their comments about what's happening there, what's happening in the country, and these sort of things. We ought not to be afraid to speak out. We ought not to be afraid to protest. And I agree 100%. And look, this is a beautiful turnout. And unlike what some folks are saying and debating about the turnout, even if it's 10 people, it's still a lot. But we have hundreds of people here. It is a heck of a lot. It's a good turnout, and I'm very happy and pleased to see this here. It tells me that people on the ground are prepared to put their boots on. They're not waiting on anybody in the opposition to tell them when to go out, or they're going out there, and they're brave enough to do what most of those who have been elected to stand up for our rights, to go out and do these sort of things. They're brave than those who are receiving a salary at the end of the month and duty-free concessions and all these things. We're hardly seeing those players out there, those MPs out there. We're not seeing them. And we are putting a check mark next to them to remind them later on that they have not been standing up for those who are being oppressed. And the entire country is being oppressed, but we're not seeing the folks them out there. We're just not seeing that, but we'll deal with that on some other occasion. We're told that the folks who are attending the so-called outreach, that the PPP, the installed PPP they're having right now, we're told that they're being brought in, paid, and given T-shirts. They're rounding people up from other communities and put them in buses and so forth to take them to that community ground, to make it appear as though it's the Buxtonians and people in the area. I mean, there might be a few people who were paid, who were given $2,000 and $3,000 because, they get some folks because they have the money to flaunt. We see some of them in their fancy cars and so forth that they're driving around. They have the money to flaunt around the place and to buy justice and all these things, buy their way out of situations. We are seeing it and paying some social media operatives that have a few following. You throw a couple of crumbs by them and shut them up. We're seeing that. And so today we are hearing also that persons have been paid to go into this community ground to listen to these pakus from the PPP there. People are being paid to go in to that community ground, paid $3,000 and $5,000 and $10,000 and so forth. They are being paid. These are people, again, who the PPP, we're hearing that the PPP operatives, some of them are questionable operatives, some of them are goons, are actually paying individuals to go and sit down to make up numbers. So it is happening. So don't run away with that. Let's head back and let's hear what some of those folks on the ground have to say.
What we need and what we're fighting for, and we can't defeat it twice. We cannot defeat it twice by the votes and all.
You remember the ratifying community, correct? You remember the ratifying community, right? And how are your ratifying committee seeing this and discussing this and giving their say to this? What are they really saying?
I as African, we see it as African oppression because Rastafarian is African community. It's an African oppression. That's why as a Rastafarian might come up here to African movement.
Thank you. Thank you. There's a chant going around now.
Judge Sonil Prasad. 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 Judge Sonil
They give me outriders, but here's the demand. But they gave me 2 outriders, and now these people has moved in this country. Since you go up at the top, you get outriders. So Christoph now get 2 outriders. I could talk. I had a brother who police shoot down years ago. So I know the feeling when somebody lost the chance to police from the police. When I just stand up and I just tell people I ain't going to stand up with Shanet Ballers, it's all world effects. People is standing up with Shanet Ballers at the court, and the same Shanet Ballers, colleagues and associates, the murdering Quinton with 6 bullets. There is a little cousin, but I would never know. So when I got to the funeral, then I know he's a Sanko and I'm a Sanko. So I feel it because I know the little bloodline. But when you do good things there like murdering people, outriders, he get to outrider. Praise God. But we must remember the same thing when you give out to people, just come back to you, press down, shake together and running over. And when it come back, we just can't take it. And how the family rejoicing to see that their son killed somebody's son. I hope they feel happy. They run into all parts of the court. You get to have a murderer. And the Bible murder, family must sit down. I'll talk about this. The other day, when the boy in rank come and cuss up me, and I thought Facebook fling me in jail. Last night I look and see another Facebook boy, an Indian boy, he's Indian, and he come out and he attacking for black people. People like him run but destroy this place. Because when he start attacking, black people gonna give voice, and the anger was never done. But continue. I come all the way from the West Coast to this protest. I always step on protest.
From the West Coast.
Yeah, we lost the volume there. The protests, people are coming from all over, not just the Buxtonians there, but I've noticed some folks, we've got to give kudos to folks like Rhonda, who traveled all the way from the West Coast. They're there to protest. People from all over are there to protest. People from Linden, people from Georgetown. So this is not just a Buxtonian protest, right? This is an everybody's protest. People from all over are in there in Buxton to hold hands with the fellow with fellow Guyanese who are residing in Buxton. In the ground, listening to those vagabonds are some Buxtonians listening to those PPP vagabonds that have nothing to offer. In the ground, they got some Buxtonians there, right? So all these people that you're seeing who are out there in their numbers protesting, there are lots of people from other areas who are there in Buxton, okay? So they have joined with Buxtonians today. So there are a bunch of people there. A bunch of people are there from other areas, and we say kudos to all those other people. And Rhonda Lane made the woman who spoke earlier actually made a good point that when the police are needed, you don't see them. But now you have outriders and you have all these police men and women out there to watch people who are standing up and protesting for justice. But when an injustice happens to somebody, you don't see the police. You just don't see them at all. And the hypocrisy is there. Now, let me go back because we have some folks in the so-called outreach, and people are being paid to go, people from outside of the communities, whether it's Buxton or Haslington or Golden Grove, people outside of that they are rounding individuals up, some from Georgetown and so forth, and paying them $5,000, giving them a t-shirt and tell them that they're going to go to Buxton at some meeting and they're going to get whatever they want. And that is why folks are attending. Some folks are attending. It's not that they're concerned and they're listening to anything that makes sense that the PPP is saying, or those goons from the PPP who are there. Is that, they're torn up. They get a little 5,000, they're torn up. And that is what the PPP is doing. That is what they have been doing for a while now. I'm not sure what happened with the footage, but it's a live broadcast, and you know what happened. You know what happened there with the internet, right? I noticed Miss Cassie saying, hey, I'm having a problem with Buxtonians who could waste their time to go to listen to Jack Dio operatives. Yeah, that's what they do. And not just the Buxtonians. They have put people in buses, the PPP that is. They put people in buses, pay them $3,000, $2,000. Some get $5,000 and so forth. It's a money-making thing. So when they give their gangster friends them within Buxton community, because the PPP do have their gangster friends, then we know and we have been monitoring those gangster friends and waiting for them to slip up, mind you, right? So they go in and they give the gangster friends them a couple $1,000s to pay other individuals not to, attend this legitimate protest, and they also pay them to go into the ground to listen to those PPP vagabonds speaking, right? And look at this. So you get a bunch of camera people there from DPI. You get a bunch of other security guys for those so-called big wigs that got into Buxton. So you get a bunch of security, you get a bunch of outriders, you get a bunch of gangsters, you get some people that you pay. You get some staff members of these so-called ministers. You get some PR persons of these so-called ministers who go down and they sit in these benches. So when they take a photograph, you would get the impression that it's a large turnout. A lot of Buxtonians are there. No, the truth is a lot of Buxtonians are not there. A lot of the people are paid. A lot of them are security people, because remember, they sent security guys in advance to check out the place. And so they're going to fool people with a photograph filled persons, mostly staff members of these so-called ministers, these so-called officials. So if, for example, as we have seen in this, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 of them there, and if 8 of them go with about 10 staff members, including security, driver, and all these manner of things, do the math. Do the math. Please, do the math, right? They're not going to go there by themselves. Mark Phillips alone is going to go there with about 20 persons. Security, outriders, and so 20 persons. Anil Nandalal is going to go with about maybe 10 to 15. Onage Waldron is going to go with about 5 or 6. Charles Ramsden got his gangster boys and them. He's going to go with about 20, 25. He's going to carry them in. This guy's a sports enthusiast and so forth. Frank Anthony going to go with about 5 or 6. Bishop Edgel is going to take some of his church members and so forth. He's going to take about 10 or 15. What's his name? Dharam Lal is going to take a couple. This little rattlesnake, Lick Lip, is going to take a bunch of little boys. So when they put these individuals now to sit on the empty chairs, how do you think that's going to look? Of course, they might get 1 or 2 Buxtonians in it. If they get more than 10 Buxtonians there, that's a lot. But when they give that image, they take a photograph now. A lot of you who don't understand how they operate would think that, well, a lot of Buxtonians turn out here today, man. Why the Buxtonians turning out? It's not the Buxtonians. It's exactly what I just told you guys. It's precisely what I just told you guys that is happening there. Precisely. That's how they do things. And so a lot of you, when you see the image, you're going to, oh my God, you're going to start getting upset and all manner of things. I just broke it down for you guys. The protest is great. It is good. It's a good turnout. And kudos to those individuals. A good turnout. And we must congratulate them. It's a good turnout. I don't know what has happened in terms of we're still trying to get back footage. You know what usually happens, right? So that is what's going on. Again, let me just break it down for you guys, man. Let me do the math. I'm kind of good at math, you know. I'm good at math, right? Well, you know, it's not my best subject, but I can do my math, right? Let me do the math again. Simone Hooper, we see your message all the time. We get the message. When honor is given, we will come Buxtonian twice. People all across the country stand up. The people in Linden stand up. The people in Georgetown stand up. The people in Burnaby stand up. And a bunch of people from other areas are together with the people in Buxton. So we get the message. You're a proud Buxtonian. Nothing is wrong with that. We get the message, Simone. We love you, but we get the message. We get the message, Simone. Good morning to you. Well, is it afternoon? No, it's not afternoon as yet. We get the message. A lot of people from Georgetown and other places have gone into Buxton to join with Buxtonians because this is a people's struggle. This is not a Buxton struggle. This is not a Buxton protest. It so happened that the protest is in Buxton, which is a good thing. They get people all over from Golden Grove, Haslington, across the river, from Linden, Georgetown, all over to make the numbers what it is today. But if all of the Buxtonians had gone out today, Miss Hooper, we would have seen the whole village out there. But some of them are in that playground. Maybe 10 or 15 or 11 of them are in that playground eating the king's meat. And then they're going to come out and say, oh, we only got it because we get a little money. Never sell your soul. Never. And a few people always do that, sell their souls. We see what happens. When people drive around in their Lamborghini and their fancy cars and they dash out money here and there. We see some of the people running and grabbing and holding on to their monies and whatever it is, treating those people like little gods. We're watching. We're seeing a lot. So be careful. Be careful, guys. Be careful. Be careful. All right? Be careful. We're not getting that footage. But again, I want to do the math for you guys. Let's do the breakdown. So when you see the numbers, you're not going to get a headache. You're not going to be fooled. And you're not going to run away with the PPP's propaganda. Mark Phillips is going to that ground with nothing less than 20-something persons. 10 of them are security guys for him. A driver, somebody to carry his food, somebody carries water, somebody to shine his boots. 20-something persons he's taking. Anil is taking about 10 to 15. Onage Waldron, maybe about 5 or 6. Charles Ramson got a bunch of his goons, so he probably take about 20, 25. So when they come out now and they're going to say, watch what they're going to say. They're going to say hundreds of Buxtonians. Watch for the propaganda. Don't fall for the propaganda. It's not hundreds of Buxtonians. Don't be fooled by these people and their propaganda. People have not turned out. Buxtonians have not turned out in their numbers to this fake outreach. Buxtonians have not turned out. Some hustlers within Buxton, and we know who those hustlers are. Like I said, we've been watching them. They're on a list, a watch list. Maybe U.S. law enforcement agency also watching them. I don't know. But those are the people who will make up the numbers. So when the PPP watch, they're going to put it in their propaganda media, social media, so-called platforms and media houses and so forth. Big headline, Buxtonians turn out in their numbers to this event. But you're not going to see anything about this real event. This is the real event. This is where real things are happening. The people are out there protesting. This is what you're not going to see in the headlines, in their headlines, because they don't want you guys to know and to get the truth. But let us hope that Village Voice that we are depending on to carry the truth will have bold headlines that hundreds of protesters turned out today. And it is the truth. Not just Buxtonians, but hundreds of people protested in Buxton today. They joined hands with their brothers and sisters in Buxton against the oppression of the PPP. That is what the headlines ought to be. And now when they're protesting in other areas, we want to see Buxtonians leave Buxton to go and join those other protests. They do that too. Don't get me wrong. They do that as well. And so kudos. This is the sort of unity that is needed if an oppressed regime like the PPP is going to be seriously confronted. We cannot sit down and expect changes to come around. We cannot expect changes to come around by just going and being invited for talks with them. It is not. We will not get changes just like that. And we're beginning to see the wind is beginning to blow in the direction of that sort of, however little it is, to see the sort of changes that we do need. We need that change. We need transparency. We need fairness across the board. You cannot compensate one group because that group looks like you, and then you ignore another group because that other group, people from that other group, do not look like you. So you're going to ignore them. You're not going to compensate them. You say to hell with them. That's the racism we're talking about. And then on the other hand, you talk about one Guyana and you love all Guyanese. No, that is not the evidence that we are seeing. We're just not seeing it. The sad thing is that members of the diplomatic community who oftentimes, they had a loud mouth during elections time and right after elections, the loud mouth, always issuing releases upon releases, they are all quiet now. Is it that they are complacent? Is it that they are seeing the money launderers investing hundreds of millions of dollars in Exxon and they're turning a blind eye on all these things that are happening in the country? I don't know. I just don't know. But people are fed up. What should they do when they're fed up? Should they do what this guy has suggested? Are you seeing the people that they are calling hooligans and thieves? Do you see them behaving like this at this protest here? Have we seen any evidence of that? Do we see them behaving like hooligans and criminals at a time when the real hooligans and criminals are in Buxton? When the real hooligans and criminals are in Buxton? Do you see them disrupting the meeting? The so-called meeting? Do you see them disrupting anything? Do you see them behaving like cannibals and animals? Do you see them? No. The people who are protesting in Buxton right now are behaving in a civilized manner. And those hooligans who are there through their so-called outreach should take a page out of these protesters' book and learn how to behave civilized and offer fairness to all Guyanese. Kudos to these protesters. Kudos to them. Right now, how they are positioned, the PPP cannot pay their agents, provocateurs, to go in there to do anything right now. They cannot penetrate this group of people. But the minute that people hit the streets and start marching and protesting and so forth, that is when the PPP starts to pay their hooligans to disrupt. And here is how they do it. They disrupt by ensuring that when they reach the villages of our Indian brothers and sisters, the PPP pay their agent provocateurs to hurt and to do the things that will create the sort of headline that will only benefit the PPP, and to make it appear that the protesters are rowdy and that the protesters, their only aim and their game or their objective is to target our Indian brothers and sisters, when in fact that is not true. It is the PPP who pay these individuals to do that. I repeat, it is the PPP who pay the individuals to go out and disrupt and to harm our Indian brothers and sisters. That is what they do. I noticed Sunil. I don't think this is the Sunil that you guys are talking about, but Sunil has a point. Look, we've got to stop this thing and looking at our Indian brothers and sisters as though all are enemies and so forth. No, that is not true. And our Indian brothers and sisters have to stop painting all persons of African descent with the same brush. We have to stop it. We need to stop it. You saw some videos with some Indian brothers who have gone out defending persons of African descent and saying the likes of Imran with his nonsense, that little Douglas boy. Imran mother is black, right? African. Imran is Douglas. Imran didn't even know what he's saying. And then they got another long mouth one, right? I gotta play that since we are not broadcasting via 107 right now. We're not. So I can play this thing, this long mouth guy. right? And I will interpret what he's saying for you guys, because you call people dunce. Why do I? And this guy, you've got it. He's funny. He's not racist. He's dumb. He's stupid, right? He's stupid. I will play it for you guys to see. But Sunil Shazam Narayan, you're correct. This is how protests ought to be. But Sunil, what I also said is that when these guys, if these, you see the peaceful protest, you see it, yes, we all accept it, right? But the minute they hit the streets, the PPP operatives, the PPP, the leadership of the PPP, pay individuals within the protest to disrupt the protest, especially when it reaches in predominantly Indian communities. That is what they do, because they feel that if one Indian brother or sister is hurt or is harmed, that it makes the PPP looks good and the protesters look bad. That is what they do, Sunil. That is what they do. So thanks for observing. Thanks for seeing that this is how protests should be. And next time we're condemning violent protests, we must condemn across the board violent protest in Monrepo, because when you throw bottles and bricks and so forth at anyone, as what they have done to Ben, it is not peaceful. It is no longer peaceful, mind you. It is violent. And when you can chase and beat up policemen and beat up nurses and school children and so forth, you know what? It is also violent protest. And so we must condemn these sort of things, these things across the board. It must not just be limited to when one set of people protest. It must not. And I'm not saying that's the case that you're doing, Sunil, but I applaud your bravery. I applaud you for seeing that this is a peaceful protest, because the PPP doesn't have an opportunity to penetrate it to do anything bad. They just do not have that opportunity. Thank you so much, Sunil. And I hope you have a great CARICOM day, just like I wish all of you out here. But we're not going yet. We're not going yet. I just thought I'd point that out and congratulate Sunil for that. But there's another guy, I believe his name is Shazam. There's a guy by the name of Batch. You know, he says that he goes out to sea, and all of his seamen, all of them, well, guys who go out to sea, English language here, right? Fishermen are of African descent. Well, he did say Negro, and I, correct our brothers whenever we think that they're politically incorrect. So all of the guys, the fishermen, are African Guyanese. He's the only Indian brother that goes out there with them. He's the captain. And he said they cook for him, do all sorts of things to make everybody happy and safe. And that is the sort of life. Not these little, man, some of the words I want to use to describe them little chirail, why? Look, let's go to this particular one. Let's go to this one here. And y'all will see exactly that it's not racism. It's ignorance, it's stupidity. Then I guess sense it's like suffering from some sort of psychological problems. Looky mouth, looky teeth. And here talk about people. Are you here? Are you here what you have to say yourself? By the way, this is not being broadcast on radio. The language is very foul, so be careful with it. I apologize. But listen to this Lungira. Are you listening to this Lungira?
Yeah, the fucking mad people that want to run a road. The government should put out on fucking law, all them stupid people go protest, shoot all of your mother's cunt and kill you. Are you fucking crab dog? Before I go run and thief people thing, go look fucking walk. Are you junkie looking scunt? One man fucking dead. All of you run go protest at your mother's cunt. Are you fucking stupid? Are you hungry? Why you not go look walk? Why you not clean fucking drain? Are you junkie? Are you? Eh? What kind of fucking do? The government are to laugh for shoot all of your mother's cunt. Because too much innocent fucking people life are go behind this thing here. So innocent people get catch in between. Are you fucking crab dog? Are you? Why not crawl in your fucking hole and stay easy?
Vindral Lake Ram. You guys understood what you said, eh? Yeah. I ain't get nothing to do. Are you crab dog? Are you? I ain't get nothing to do. Are you who this? I ain't get nothing to do. And I mean, look, some friends of mine who are non-Guyanese asked whether this guy was speaking English or what language is this guy speaking. They thought that he ran out of the Berbice psychiatric ward out there at Kanji. I said, no. I said, no. I had to interpret it for you. I tell you this. I and he mouth long. Look, this guy, that long mouth guy, that Lungira, that Katahar, that Chamar deserves an award this afternoon. Because look at this donkey teeth and look at his teeth and ask yourselves, what's the difference? Look at how he acted. Look at the things that he's saying and listen to what this animal is saying. And you would want to know whether they're twins. Seriously. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. We got to get rid of some of these trench croppers and the like. They come with some names and talking a bunch of nonsense. You know, talking a bunch of nonsense because we are highlighting facts here. You know, we're talking dotishness. We're not about dotishness. You just heard that Lungira. That Lungira, that Katahar. What's wrong with calling him a Katahar? He's a Korhi. He's a Chamar. I'm sure when he gets up in the morning, the first thing he does do, bush rum. Or he's ting up his weed and he starts smoke and he get all ting up, he get crazy. He probably mix his weed with something else. Molly get pop. I don't know. I'm hearing about Molly. Molly get pop. Back in the days, the only Molly I knew was a girl named Molly. And now you get big song turned into Molly. Molly get pop. Only get flop. Thing get flop. Flop, flop, flop. Right? This king and he get right. This guy is something else. Mind you, the protest is still on in Buxton. We're not getting a live feed, but I just thought that I show you guys the effect, the after effect of Molly when Molly get pop. Them guys drop. Beard mess come out of their mouth. You know, I don't like to call people junkie, but take another look at this guy here, man. Seriously. So, you know, I feel sorry for them because he knows not what he says. The Baina get Eddie, what a big word, edification. The Baina get education. The Baina know what you say. I'm sure if you take a look at this guy, he was either high on something. Because you can't tell me he pop Molly pop, or Molly must have pop he, because these days, you know. Sorry. But take a look at this idiot again. Seriously.
Yeah. The fucking mad people that want to run a road. The government should put out on fucking like all them stupid people who protest. Shoot all of your mother's cunt and kill you. Are you fucking crab dog? Before I gotta run and thief people thing, go look fucking walk. Are you junkie looking scunt? One man fucking dead. All of you run go protest at your mother's cunt. Are you fucking stupid? Are you hungry? Why not go look walk? Why not clean fucking drainer? Are you junkie? Are you? Eh? What kind of for fucking do? The government are return laugh for shoot all of your mother's cunt. Cause too much innocent fucking people life are go behind this thing here. So innocent people like catch in between. Are you fucking crab dog? Are you? Why not crawl in your fucking hole and stay easy?
Forget about his Chinese earphones, ear plugs or whatever. Forget about the fact that he needs a lawnmower for his hair. Forget about the fact that his teeth, holy smoke. And can just imagine how he smells. But look, on a serious note, I don't even consider him a racist. He's just a jackass. He's a clown. That is what he is. I bet if you ask him to spell racist, he can't even spell racist. You ask him to spell teeth, he can't spell teeth. You ask him to spell dentist, he can't spell dentist. Seriously, Myrna, it's not like I'm making excuses for him. He's worse than the donkey that we play, that we give them as an award. He's, look, I grew up on the quarantine. So me know what you talk there. Are you this? Are you that? Look, why not go look work? Why not go look this? Why not go look that? He's an embarrassment to Indians. He's an embarrassment. And there are lots of Indian brothers and sisters who do not support what he said. And we've got to be fair. A lot of Indian brothers listen to this show and sisters. They listen. They laugh at him. They call him Lungira. They call him Katahar. They call him Korhi. They call him Chamar. He's the kind of guy that go wedding house. And when they reach a wedding house, when everything done, you give him little food. And he call people hungry belly. He get a mouth like he eat everything that is left over. So at the wedding house, he's the type that will dance for a little rum, dance for a little food, and then when he get drunk, he walk and he fall along a road corner, and everybody get enjoyment time in the village, including donkeys and everybody, dog walk, we all kind of thing. That's the sort of guy. That's him. That is him. So when these Lungira, when them come out and them attack about who hungry belly and why not go eat, why not go find something, I have to smile because I'm going to have a thing like that. Abi go make a thing like that. Disrespect Abi or define Abi, define we as a people, one thing like that. One Korhi lakada, one Chamar lakada, one Tede Kabur, Nanika Chodor Kalandeke. Those who know that term could finish it out. I don't want to finish it out, but he's a Chamar, Tede Kabur, Nanika Chodor Kalandeke. That's him. So we should not allow these Katahar, these Chamars, these Korhis to define us as a people. Are you hungry? Any one of you hungry? Any one of you lazy? So why should you allow that thing, one thing lakada, to disrespect? No. Why should you lose sleep over one thing lakada, one katahar lakada? Those are the sort of things whenever you go and use the toilet and you flush, there's always a little piece that doesn't want to go away. He is that little piece. All right. So, but the serious part of this here is that he is allowed to get away with these sort of things, to talk about killing, to talk about shooting out people and all these manner of things, but yet the police wouldn't do anything. But you let poor lady like Rhonda Lane calling on some shows, and she speaks her mind about how she feels, and the next day a truckload of police down by Rhonda Lane. Poor Rhonda Lane. If you go and pick up Rhonda Lane, lock up Rhonda Lane. But look at all them things them people is a say. Look at all them things them Lungira say. Look at all them things them Katahars a say. And not one police go for arrest this little piece of thing that always floats back up. Not one police. And that's the sort of hypocrisy that we see in that country. You let it be Rhonda Lane. They would have done pick up poor Rhonda Lane already. They would have done pick up any one of you. Right, Ian Williams? Any one of us done pick up for far less than that. Listen to this Lungira again. I listen to this Lungira again. I listen to this Katahar again. I listen to this low life, because that is what he is. He's not a racist. He's in no position to be a racist. None whatsoever. I listen to him and ask yourselves why. And I have sent these videos to the Commissioner of Police Acting. I've sent it to them. It is not like they can't find these individuals. They found poor Rhonda Lane. And they locked up Rhonda Lane. They picked up Rhonda Lane. Locked her up for far less than this. Listen to this. Listen to this Lungira. Listen to this hungry belly swamp crappo. Listen to him. But yet the police can't pick him up.
Yeah, the fucking mad people that want to run a road. The government should put out on fucking law and stupid people who protest, shoot all of your mother's cunt and kill you. Are you fucking crab dog? Before I go run and thief people thing, go look fucking walk. Are you junkie looking scunt? One man fucking dead. All of you run go protest at your mother's cunt. Are you fucking stupid? Are you hungry? Why not go look walk? Why not clean fucking drainer? Are you junkie? Are you? Eh? What kind of have to fucking do? The government are return laugh for shoot all of your mother's cunt. Cause too much innocent fucking people life are go behind this thing here. So innocent people get catch in between. Are you fucking crab dog? Are you? Why not crawl in your fucking hole and stay easy?
Why not crawl in your hole? Yeah. I not gonna look walk. I'm sure he doesn't even have a job. I'm almost certain he doesn't. And Afraz, my friend, is saying, hey, he don't smoke weed. Of course he smokes something else because you can tell from his teeth and his mouth long, his teeth outside of his mouth, the ears. You could tell he's onto something. I have more respect for junkies, people they call junkies. He's beyond junkie stage. He gone past junkie stage. All right, what else is happening? We know Molly popping with that guy, but what else is happening? Again, let me say kudos to our Indian brothers and sisters who have condemned those sort of things coming from the Lungeras them. And I can tell because a lot of other videos I have seen with our Indian brothers and sisters boldly condemning these sort of things. Kudos to those individuals who have condemned the actions of those little rattlesnakes. Imran has since apologized. I think that's his name. He said that his mother is black and so forth. And you could tell, but sometimes when Molly pop up in your system and it starts to circulate, you act differently, I think, right? But Imran has since apologized. Here is Imran. First of all, let's show the first tape with Imran.
And the fucking next thing is, police now against fucking police. Here's the next thing. The fucking police, them all look like a fucking thief. Yeah, black man just like fucking jump out. Yeah, fucking Matty black man, shoot kill a Matty black man. Your mother's gonna get fucking sense, eh? The fucking man down there and gonna. Oh, mother's gonna is the policeman, yeah, gotta look for. Kill the police out. No fucking cool the people do ya not is yeah, old Matty black man shoot a Matty black man. Your mother's gonna go from fucking racist now, eh? Your mother's gonna dotage bad black man. And my mother's gonna get sense. Like I can never fucking go to school. I need to go fucking school. And your mother's gonna dotage bad. I never see fucking black man so yet. Eh, burning fucking road, burning up fucking people vehicle. But hey, black people and pies and your mother's gonna out keep a party. And fucking make sure invite all of your mother's gonna all the black man in this country. Who can get your mother's gonna fit and show pies in your fucking no, what's up? Well, y'all don't know his guys again. Well, you guys, yesterday the two video I posted up last night. I've been angry, I've been passionate, I've been vexed, right? But sorry to the black people that want to say, oh, keep a party and kill out all y'all and stuff. I'm sorry for that, and I hope y'all understand it. I've been vexed yesterday all day. I've been vexed, yes. I've been vexed though, but I'm sorry though, right? So, yeah, hope y'all see the videos and y'all understand. I've been passionate, yes. I've been vexed, yes, but I don't mean nothing or no answer, right?
All right, so let's get to some other serious stuff, but the police not picking them up. The police ain't picking them up, right? All right, so let's get down to some stuff here now. This is the news circulating that the DPP has recommended charges that this guy be charged with murder. Again, the DPP, has recommended murder charges against this guy, the policeman, Christophe de Nobrega. De Nobrega, right, is to be charged, and we are seeing this here press release issued by the DPP. Today is a holiday, but they came out to work. The DPP received the report and filed from the chairman of the Police Complaints Authority, Justice Retired William Ramlal, on the evening of the 3rd, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Justice Retired Ramlal recommended that one policeman, Lance Corporal Christophe de Nobrega, be charged with the offense of murder. The offense of murder, murder. So this cop will be charged with murder. Let us hope that he is currently under arrest. Let us hope that they can find him. And let us hope that he goes to prison. Simple as that. Charged with murder of Quindon Bacchus. Murder. Had it not been for protest, had it not been for people standing up and exposing the police force, this guy would not have been charged. But he is charged here. And kudos to those who protested to ensure that some form of justice, as at least we're seeing the light, now that he has been charged with murder, M-U-R-D-E-R, murder. He has been charged with murder. Now, I don't know. I've heard you guys talking about some Sunil. I ain't seen Sunil name here. I ain't seen Sunil name here. The advice, right, that another Lance Corporal Police, Thurston Simon, and Sergeant Damian McLennan to be charged with the following offenses. Lance Corporal Thurston Simon is to be charged with the offense of attempt to obstruct the course of justice. The other one, that is Lance Corporal, Lance Corporal Simon has another charge, which is the offense to conduct prejudice to good order and discipline. The other policeman, Sergeant Damian McLennan, is to be charged with attempt to obstruct the course of justice, according to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. Again, it is out. Murder charges and other charges against 3 policemen. Murder charge, against this policeman, Christophe de Nobrega. Murder charge will be instituted against him, and he has to be arrested and placed before the court, I think, tomorrow morning. And that's what it is. That's what's happening. That's the news that we got coming right out of Guyana. Right out of Guyana, right? I guess you guys have heard it also, because, you know, Guyanese got a way of hearing things. So murder charge. It's what? I recall back in the days you would scream out, it's murder, it's murder, it's cold-blooded murder, it's murder, it's murder, it's murder, it's cold-blooded. Well, the autopsy report pointed in the direction of murder, because when you shoot someone in the back, you shoot them not only once, not only half a time, but you shoot them 5 or 6 times, according 5 or 6 times, according to the autopsy report. 5 or not my report, you know, the autopsy report. 5 or 6 times you shoot them, once close range. What do you expect? Not to have a murder charge instituted? Not to have a murder charge instituted? It's got to be murder. It's murder. It's murder. It's cold-blooded murder, because that's exactly what it is. Cold-blooded murder. It's murder, right? It's murder. Sorry about that.
That he should not be out on the streets.
Sorry about that. We are attempting to go back in Buxton, where the protest is currently. We're going to be going there shortly. Just give us a quick minute. We are heading back to Buxton. We want to be there where the protest is, and we will bring that live to you in just about 30 seconds as we have our Lemon. Where is Lemon? Could put things together for us so we get back to that protest.
Sorrow. cleaning up of the police force. That is not just to get one killer off the scene, but to clean the police force of killers. We are demanding a police force that goes back to the initial objective of policing, and that is service and protection, not to kill people. So we are saying, let them begin the cleaning of the police force. We in the African Guyanese community have no confidence in the leadership and the practice of policing in this country. And we are going to continue to make that a foremost demand. So we are watching what happens from today. But we are saying the murder has been instituted. We are not going to stop and go home. We are going to watch them with an eagle's eye. Now, as to what is going on up there, it is the worst form of racism. That you feel that when people cry for justice, you bring a hamper and give them. You feel that when people stand up and say they don't agree with what is going on, you bring out the black ministers in the black community to bribe us. We feel that that is a worst form of racism that has to stop. It has to stop. Black people should be treated with dignity in this country. And dignity means that they must be able to access resources in an equal way. We are not hungry belly people that you bring a hamper and give to us. We have built this country. We were here before others came, and we contributed to make what Guyana is today. Why are you treating these people like that? Why are you every day making them feel like second-class citizens in this country? They are not. And we are saying that we are building a movement. This movement is not to be a one-issue movement. This is a movement to wash Guyana of the sins that have come on us for the last 2 years. This is a movement against police killing, extrajudicial killing. This is a movement against economic genocide. This is a movement against government oppression. This is a movement against our young women being killed and thrown in trenches every day. This is a movement against children shot. This is a movement against bringing the soldiers onto the street when they have no business on the streets of Guyana. And this is an all-party movement. This is a movement that will bring all our people in. And I want to say this. It is not a movement against East Indians. It is not a movement against Indian Guyanese. This is a movement that is for Indian Guyanese, who, because they vote for the party, are afraid to speak out. And when we speak out for them also. Those people on Tuesday, they marched through the villages, Indian villages. They didn't touch an Indian. And then all of a sudden, at one report, all hell broke loose. They still have to tell us who planted those people in the crowd to commit those offenses against the people of one report. It was not the people who were marching.
Thank you very much.
I want to point out as well, information on the turnouts would have established that the two Afro-Guyanese that were charged with the knockdown had nothing to do with this murder. If you say this was something carried out by a particular unit, then the head of that unit should know. How is it you're not charging the head of the unit, but you're charging people who are not there? So we are seeing within this an attempt to cover some Indian Guyanese who are involved in this. And I say this without fear of successful contradiction. We are not against Indian Guyanese. but we are against the people. And we are full well aware here. Because people bring information, people give you information. The information is revealing that they're about to charge two Afro-Guyanese that had nothing to do with it. And the two people that had something to do with it, they are going to protect them because they are in the Guyanese. And I say without fear of success.
Thank you very much. You just heard from the leader of the opposition, Mr. Aubrey Norton, and the WPA's Mr. David Hines, speaking on the recent.
All right, this is a start. This is a beginning. Aubrey Norton, the leader of the opposition, is there on the scene and mentioned that the police, the two policemen who were charged were not there. The charges has nothing to do with whether they were there or not. The charges has to do with that they have alleged to have obstructed the course of justice. It simply means that when the filer, during the course of the investigations, they found out that they attempted to obstruct the course of justice. In other words, probably took away evidence or whatever the case may be. So they may not have been there, but according to the report, they have obstructed the course of justice. So according to that investigation, it is a crime, hence their reason for being charged. Now, the issue is we've got to be mindful that we need to find out who were the other policemen there in this so-called sting operations. Was it those other two, the lance corporal and the sergeant? Were they there? I doubt whether they were there, but during the course of the investigations, they obstructed, allegedly. And now, who are the other officers? Is it Sunil? Who is Sunil? Was Sunil there? What role did he play? What role did Sunil play in this here? And so all of the officers have to come on and be questioned. And why charge one? First, we wanted charges to be filed against the alleged main culprit in this, who is Nobrega, alleged main culprit in this. And now we're saying that he is not, we're hearing that he's not the main culprit, and at least this is a start. But let's get to the bottom of it, though. Let's really, really get to the bottom as to what's really going on. But charges were filed. It is a step in the right direction. And let us see what else is going to come, or what is going to come out of this here. 3 persons were charged, 1 for murder, 2 for obstruction of justice. And to me, I feel that that is a good start, a start in the right direction. I'm looking at some of your comments. Let's see what's happening next. People are talking about Sunil. I don't know who Sunil, but if Sunil was there, then Sunil should be charged. Sunil's name is calling again, right? But the fact is that we've been hearing about this guy, Nobrega. No, Nobrega has been charged with murder. He's been charged with murder. Sunil's name is calling. At least that is why I'm saying that we're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel in terms of justice. Some light we're seeing. Let us hope that we'll continue to see more lights. I'm not sure what's happening with the broadcast, but let's try. Let's head back there and see what's happening.
Now, as to what is going on up there, it is the worst form of racism. That you feel that when people cry for justice, you bring a hamper and give them. You feel that when people stand up and say they don't agree with what is going on, you bring out the black ministers in the black community to bribe us. We feel that that is a worst form of racism. That has to stop. It has to stop. Black people should be treated with dignity in this country. And dignity means that they must be able to access resources in an equal way. We are not hungry belly people that you bring a hamper and give to us. We have built this country. We were here before others came, and we contributed to make what Guyana is today. Why are you treating these people like that? Why are you every day making them feel like second-class citizens in this country? They are not. And we are saying that we are building a movement. This movement is not going to be a one-issue movement. This is a movement to wash Guyana of the sins that have come on us for the last 2 years. This is a movement against police killing, extrajudicial killing. This is a movement against economic genocide. This is a movement against government oppression. This is a movement against our young women being killed and thrown in trenches every day. This is a movement against children who are shot. This is a movement against...
All right, Dr. David Hines there. Earlier, he spoke about those things, and you were watching a live broadcast here in Buxton, the protest march there in Buxton, and what is happening in Buxton. You're going to hear all manner of different things. That conviction comes with it. Of course, for some folks, conviction comes with a trial. But for some of them, they convict individuals even without a trial. But it is ironic, isn't it, that some folks know when there is a conviction, right? There's a conviction after a trial. Some of these same guys who are talking about conviction comes after a trial have themselves convicted people even before a trial. So you know what I mean, right? All right, what else is happening that we have seen? We know that the PPP, they have paid individuals to attend. They have paid individuals to attend their so-called outreach. That is what they have done. They bust a lot of folks in, and a lot of folks went in with these people who gone in there to spread their propaganda. And David Hines is correct that you can't, in the face of injustice, people are crying out for justice, you walk in with some sort of hamper. And even in the midst of some of their own supporters of PPP, some of them are calling for certain group of people to be poisoned and killed and all manner of things. And the PPP, the leadership of the PPP has not condemned those actions. They have not called on the police to go and arrest those individuals. No, they're not. But yet folks like Robeson, Ben, and others are going to put those who are showing another side of the coin, they're putting them on a watch list, right? That's according to Robeson, Ben. But these individuals who are calling, these goons who are calling for the execution of persons of Black African descent to be executed and so forth, we're not seeing any action or condemnation on the part of the PPP. And so that is what they are about. They are going to condemn one group of people, mainly African Guyanese, and they stay silent on whenever it is their support base that is doing all of the talking and the threatening and the insults and the racism and so forth. Don't be surprised. So what can they say to the people in Buxton right now? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing to say. They've ignored the people for 20-odd years. Now they're back less than 3 years. They continue where they've left off for the 20-something years of neglecting and their racism and economic genocide and all these things. And for some people, when was it Lincoln Lewis, the veteran trade unionist Lincoln Lewis, who said that PPP was practicing economic genocide? Some folks condemned him. They later joined and they agreed with him. And one particular who agreed with Lincoln, who disagreed with Lincoln about economic genocide, joined us in the protest in Guyana and agreed with everything that we were saying then, which is not different than what we're saying now. And suddenly we're the bad guys. We're the bad guys for that particular individual. But we understand why that individual is writing and acting up how he's acting up. We understand. We also understand the power of money, right? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull the curtains down, but just want you guys to know that the protest in Buxton, with hundreds of people turned out, it was peaceful, and kudos to those who made that possible. I have noticed that the leader of the opposition is there. I haven't seen the regular set of cosmetic kind of uh, members of parliament who just turn up on social media and to talk and to talk, and the type of cosmetic kind of members of parliament who turn up, who go out to New York City in their numbers, and who are not afraid to stand up on a stage and talk about protest and talk about this. These are the very ones, for the most part, who find all manner of excuses as to why they will not be protesting in Guyana. We know who those individuals are, and we say shame on them for sitting down and not doing much in the country, but only talking a bunch of crap whenever they go overseas. Then when they fly back into Guyana, they are missing in action. All manner of excuses, all kinds of excuses. But we don't see them on the battlefield. We don't see them in the struggle. And I don't identify with them as being part of the struggle, because a lot of them are not in the struggle with us. They don't speak up against the oppression by the PPP. They're either afraid, or it's either they are eating the king's meat, or it simply means either they are eating the king's meat, right? Either they are eating the king's meat. Either they are eating the king's meat, or they're just selling us out. Hence the reason for not being there when they're needed. And then they pop up with all sorts of excuses why they're not there. And they usually say that they're not there because they don't want it to be politicized. It is already politicized. The PPP has already politicized it. So what nonsense are you guys saying? The bulk of them who are not there today is shame on them. Don't come on no social media platform and curl up your tongue and want to sound bright and all these sort of things. And we don't need that sort of representation. None whatsoever. And if I have my way, I will strike them off the list and remove them and put people to sit in that parliament who can fight for us. Some of them have turned out there. I don't know. Anybody saw Vola Lawrence out there? I got to go. I'll see you guys later. Continue to pray for Guyana. And again, kudos to these folks who came out in their numbers today. Kudos to them. God bless you all. We'll be back if there's any other update or whatever. We will be back. But kudos to all those folks who turned out today. Happy 4th of July and happy CARICOM Day. God bless you all.
Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police are come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman are come.
Sanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Sanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police are come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police are come.
Sanko chase love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko chase love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Sanko catchy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko catchy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police are come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman are come.
Sanko squeezy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko squeezy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Sanko left me love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko left me love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Police are come and the gala holla murder. Sanko boy,
You better run.
Sanko boy, police are come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman are come. Sanko,
You better run.
Sanko,
Police are come.
Sanko,
You better run.
Sanko.
Police are come.
So, what's the secret?